Your body has all the answers. Every single particle in your body has so much information, so much depth, so much knowledge, so much intelligence that a part of us doesn't actually know how to interpret that information, because we're usually up here, right? Like, we're the linear, logical, systematic thinkers. We want the data, we want the analytics, we want the linear way of thinking, we want the mindset, we want to be up here so we can make sense of it. But your physical body is also contributing as well. It's sending you clues and information all the time. And so when you have a disconnect between what your body is saying and what your mind is feeling, you kind of have this gap between whether or not you're communicating with yourself properly. So this basically means that you don't really feel aligned in your decision because your mind says a different thing, but your body feels a certain other way. Your alignment to your choices feel a little off. The flow in your life feels a little forced, or it feels just like too wishy-washy, too open-ended. There's not that kind of concrete safety that you want to feel when your mind and body are properly talking to each other. So the thing is, like, the good news is that your body's always sending you cues. So you know that feeling that you feel in your stomach, is that bubble guts, or is that your intuition? Is that this inner knowing that's showing up for you? When you feel like a burden on your shoulder, or you're dealing with a lot of things, there's a lot of things happening and you have this heaviness on your shoulder, when you have that difficult conversation and all of a sudden you feel light, is that just like the way that you slept and your neck is hurting, or is there some physical clue here? Or what about when you feel that constriction in your heart or your chest, your rib cage, and it feels like there's something tight here when you're about to make some decisions that you don't really want to make, or you know you shouldn't be making, but you still do it? What is that saying for you? Or that expansion that you feel when you do something that feels joyous or expansive or pleasureful. You feel like there's so much room, I feel so much lighter, it still feels like, there's more space for me to do the things. That's the flow that we're talking about. And part of the reasons why a lot of folks don't experience quote unquote flow is because we're in a misalignment with what our mind is doing and what our body is doing. And there is a way for these two things to talk to each other, and that is called breathing. That is called breath work. So when we put a focus on psychosomatics, meaning psychology, psyche, your mind, and somatics, meaning your physical body, we're essentially working on the link between the way your mind and body communicate with each other. So your body's saying one thing, so what? And your mind is saying a different thing, so what? How is it that I know which choice or which decision to make? It is to say that if we spoke the same language, if we knew how to talk to one another, then the communication would be better. And anytime communication is better, it's easier to solve the problem. So most of your problems are going to be solved by listening to the cues of your body. There might be other problems in your life that I can't really help you with. But in this video, I want to share with you 5 somatic breathwork techniques that you as a coach, a healer, a wellness practitioner can use in order to create more of that mind-body connection for yourself or for your clients and community. And it's going to be so simple that you'll be able to take these techniques pretty much right away and start implementing them into your practice. And I also created a more extensive guidebook for you. I'm going to link it somewhere below so that you are able to download the guidebook and have these somatic techniques written up for you, so you know the use cases, you know the techniques behind it, you know the reasoning behind it. But for this video's sake, I'm going to just demonstrate very quickly what it is that we're doing today. The first somatic breathing technique that I'll share with you is the body scan with breath awareness. And it's super, super simple. When you start to utilize this, you're going to see the value of something so simple that allows people who are a little bit more disconnected from their body to be able to tune into the subtleties of what's happening in the body. So when you listen to that intuition in your stomach, or you feel that pain, or you feel that tingling, you feel that sensation, you feel, like the juju's moving around, is it because it's chilly, or is there something in your physical body that's saying yes, let's do this, or no, this doesn't feel aligned, or somewhere in between? You're going to be able to utilize those cues just a little bit more. And a body scan is essentially when you're scanning your physical body, starting from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, and paying attention to all the micro details of what the heck your body is doing. So you want to be a little bit still for this practice. You don't want to be running around doing all the things, because it's okay, it's harder to pay attention to your body and notice all the subtleties, all the nuances when you're moving all about. So essentially you want to start at the bottom of your feet and work all the way up to the top of your head, paying attention to the way that each part of your body is existing. So while you're doing that, and I'll go a little deeper into that as well, while you're doing that, you're going to also be breathing intentionally. So there's passive breathing, meaning probably what you're doing right now, like you're not really thinking about breathing, you're not really like, you're alive, so you're breathing, but you're not necessarily like paying attention to where the breath is going. You aren't paying attention to, am I breathing through my nose or my mouth? Am I breathing into my belly or into my chest? What are my shoulders doing? Likely, as you're watching this and listening to this, you're probably not paying attention to that. So the second part of a body scan is to actually add that breath awareness in there. So you are going to be breathing in through your nose and you're breathing out through your mouth, in through your nose and out through your mouth, okay? So essentially what this looks like is you start with this breath awareness first, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. The second portion of this is paying attention to the first thing that you see at the bottom of your body. So if it's your toes, then go ahead and start to notice like what the heck your toes are doing. Are they touching something? What is the temperature of your toe? What is it leaning against? Is it touching other toes? Are there, is there a sock there that you're touching? Is there a leg there that's sitting on top of your toe? You want to notice everything that you can about what the heck this toe is doing. And it's a little painful because it's like, yes, a toe, but then you want to work your way up to the bottom of your feet, to your ankles, to your calves and your shins, to your kneecaps, to your thighs, all the way up to the top of your head. And again, in this video, I'm just explaining to you the technique, because like we'd be here for hours. We were like demonstrating everything, but essentially that is one beautiful way that you could start, especially if you are a therapist, if you are a somatic worker, if you're a massage therapist, if you're somebody who's in the healing arts and you work somewhere in the wellness profession. This is a very, very beautiful, subtle way to bring awareness into the physical body. It allows your physical body to be able to start talking to your mental body as well. Okay, so that's technique one. The second somatic technique that you can use as a coach or a healer, a wellness practitioner, is breath counting. And breath counting just sounds so stupidly simple, right? It's just like counting your breath. But essentially what it does, it brings you into an intentional breath one more time. So with our first technique, we were saying it's a body scan, but it's also breath awareness. And so when you're creating breath awareness, what you're noticing is that the way that you're breathing actually impacts the way that your body functions. So right now, if you're holding your breath or you're doing something called thoracic breathing, meaning that you're breathing from your chest up, your body's in a low-key survival state right now. It is thinking like something's gonna happen. What is gonna do? Like my email's gonna happen, and then my to-do list. You're in a panic mode, even if you feel pretty chill. There's a signal in your sympathetic nervous system that says like, I really can't just relax and let go, because there's a part of me that feels like I can't truly relax and let go. I don't feel, some part of me doesn't feel emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically, socially, financially safe in order for me to fully let go. So when you begin to count your breath, it starts to give that information, that ability for your breath and your body to start to connect again. That disconnection from your body is to say, why am I living in this constricted way? And why is my body triggered to go into a survival state when everything's like fine? Like this email is not the end of the world, or this thing is not the end of the world. Like I know that up here, but why does my body not physically feel that? I know that logically this email is like the least important thing to me, but why is my physical body responding in a different way? So breath counting can be as simple as counting your inhale in, count for 4 seconds in, and then count for 4 seconds out. And the guide that I mentioned before, Somatic Breathing Practices for Coaches and Healers, that you can download below, is going to give you way more instruction around what it means for you to count. So different ideas on counting as a box breath, counting as a 6, 7, 8 breath, counting in different breathwork styles that you can learn inside the guide. But breath counting is your second technique. The third way is breathwork and somatic movement. So somatic and movement is already like a conundrum, because like somatic means the body, it means from the body, and movement is also the body. So it's like body, like, and if you didn't get the point, it's like, let's include the physical body when we're actually actually trying to include a conversation between our body and our mind. So our mind is active here. Our mind is already like very, is going. We don't need to pay more attention to what's happening up here, but it's to say like, is there a part of our body that feels shameful to move? Is there a part of our body that resists? Is there a part of our body that has been ignored or violated? Or is there something that I'm holding on to in terms of emotions? Remembering that emotions literally stands for energy in motion. And so when we have a lot of emotions that are sitting in certain parts of our body, like our shoulders, our heart, our chest, our belly, our navel, our lower back, our hips, our pelvis, our psoas muscles, our fascial muscles, all of these different things contribute to why it is that we feel disconnected from our physical body. We might be casted in a moment of our trauma. We might feel like we're holding onto something that we can't really express. Like maybe it's not safe for you to express grief, or maybe it's not safe for you to express shame, or maybe you feel shame to express the fact that you're angry, or there's some kind of limitation in you being able to express your emotions and your feelings, and that lack of being able to express starts to collect in our physical body. Emotions, energy in motion, they don't want to stay in one place. They actually want to physically move. And so if you're doing all your healing work just like sitting still, that's already a problem, right? So when we're including movement, there are so many different angles to that. It's not just like movement because like this is going to heal your trauma. There are very specific ways that your body processes emotions and processes the energetics of your body, the energy sciences of your chakra systems, the way that the elements work in your physical body. There's so many nuances to that. In this video, I'm just going to mention that there's movement and you can learn more. And of course, I'm going to invite you, if you are interested, to learn more about how flow is created in your physical body through your breath and through the psychosomatic connection, invite you to become a certified breathwork facilitator. Head to www.flowbreathworktraining.com and you're able to come study with us and learn all the psychology, the psychosomatics, the neuroscience, the energy sciences, the indigenous roots, the elementals, the way that energy flows in and out through the body, and become a certified breathwork facilitator. You can use this practice in the current practices you already have as a coach, as a healer, as a wellness practitioner, in your yoga practices, with your clients, in one-on-ones. It's endless because breathwork is the #1 somatic healing tool because it comes from within. You don't ever need anything else except to utilize the breath and the wisdom and intelligence of your body. And so when you're learning to add movement, I recommend that you start with just the intuition, right? Let's leave all like the trauma release movements, the somatic movements, etc. over there, the particular things over there, just starting with the subtleties. So scanning your physical body to know, is there a part of the physical body that resists? And sometimes our resistance is what shows us the most information, right? Like, it's hard for you to move from here because you're holding on to something here. And it's hard for you to do that because there's like a shame attached to it. Or maybe there's societal programming, or maybe there is a story or a narrative that you've been fed or you've been subscribed to for as long as you've been alive and you didn't even know it. So that movement from your hips, the movement from your belly, the movement from your chest begins to open up stagnant energy and stagnant information, because all of these energy centers that are in and outside of our body are always talking to you, because you low-key understand when you say, ooh, vibes, right? Like vibration, or you say like, ooh, that had a weird feeling. Your physical body is a radar like that. It knows how to read all of these different things. You've been reading it, but now it's time to interpret that. So that's your next tip, is to use breath work with movement. The 4th somatic breathwork technique for coaches and healers is to use sound and breathwork. And it's not just random sound, it's intentional sound. And so again, download the guide because there's more information there, and come in through our training if you are wanting to, receive support in what this looks like in like full application. But intentional sound basically means make some sound out of your mouth, and like, what is the natural sound that comes out? So as you take a deep breath in through your nose, you're going to exhale and you're going to play around with what your mouth wants to do. So maybe it's a big exhale like that, or maybe it's a growl like this, or oh, or ee, ooh. It's gonna be wild, it's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be very unique and specific to what your physical body is asking for. Because sometimes you'll be making some sound that you didn't think you're gonna make, and sometimes there's like a surprise that happens, or sometimes it's just so liberating because you get to growl and scream and let go of something that you've been holding in. So maybe it's anger that you've been wanting to express but you didn't get to. So like saying shaking and doing that is going to allow yourself to connect to the natural intuition of your physical body and its natural desire to express. That sometimes, because people are talking over us, or people are not giving us a chance to talk, or they're always like gaslighting us, or they're telling us this is right or wrong, you don't always have this like freedom of speech that you want, or freedom of expression that you want, and your body wants to express. Your energy, your emotional body wants to express. So as you're tuned into taking a deep breath in, that sound becomes more intentional for you. Deeper than that, and I won't go into that today, but deeper than that is also to see where in your body you can let that sound go from. Is that coming from your throat? Is that coming from your chest? Is that coming from your stomach? Is that coming from your groin? Is that coming from your legs? Is that coming from the top of your head? And you can play around with that. The fifth somatic breathwork technique for coaches and healers that I will leave you here with today is tapping. Underrated. Like, your physical body is like, yeah, when you have that thing, just tap. When you have that tension, when you have that pressure, when you have that, nuanced feeling that's coming up, go ahead and allow your hands to help you. So tapping isn't always this like systematic way. I know that you see like emotional freedom technique, EFT, and there's like a very systematic way to do it, but tapping has been in many indigenous cultures for a very long time, and it's a very intuitive way to practice. So tapping can look like this, where you're like swinging your arms around. It can look gentle, like tapping the top of your head, because you have all these micro meridians around your body. In Vedic culture or in Vedic studies, they're known as nadis, but basically they're just energy centers all around your physical body. And you may have heard of like energy centers that are the 7 chakras. There's actually way more than that, and different cultures talk about it in different ways. And so if you're tapping your physical body but still breathing, right? You're allowing stagnant energy to move through, and you're also helping the resistance to move through. So why is there a resistance in your heart? Is there a heartbreak here that we're working with, right? And so instead of acting like, yeah, we're not upset, or this doesn't bother us, or this isn't something that is, weighing heavy on me, you're allowing your breath and the movements of tapping to allow those energies and emotions to move through. Okay, so very simplified 5 techniques, and I love that for you, because you can like literally just go out and be like, do a body scan and do a little tapping and do a little growling and intuitive movement. Like, you can do all of that today. But if you are interested to learn to become a certified breathwork facilitator and yield these tools in a really intentional way to help people heal through overthinking, perfectionism, self-doubt, you want to help people with their grief, you want to help them sync their menstrual cycles, you're a women's wellness coach, come to Flow Breathwork Facilitator Training, www.flowbreathworktraining.com, and I'll leave the links below. And if you're interested to talk to a team member, we're on standby and helping you enroll to see if this is going to be in alignment for you. What does your physical body say? Like, is this a yes? Is this a no? Is this a like, right now I'm ready to step into my gifts as a coach, as a healer, as a wellness practitioner, and I really want to up-level my skill sets? Come through and we will see you in there. And remember, the world is your playground. And until next time, I will catch you soon.